Go to Starship. We build this city because it's apparently on the list.
I won't be able to react too much just because this is just my regular playlist.
Alright. Well, we'll see. And that was important. I don't want to be bombarded with all this old stuff. Okay, so...
Yes, sir, that's my baby.
Yes, sir, that's my baby.
I have not heard of this song.
Harry Carey and
There's credited to Lee Morse.
There might be other...
I guess a different...
Yeah, there's different versions.
Frank Sinatra... yeah, the version that's listed as the worst is like 25 years later.
Carey.
I have a bad... I'm scared.
So it does a thing that, and this wasn't uncommon, like this has happened throughout history several times. It happens more often with music videos than it does with songs, where the person who's doing the song will break from the song to tell a story.
It was common in the teen tragedy bits that this is parody.
There are exceptions to when that works really well, like
as in Dead Man's Curve.
Or, more importantly, The Devil Went Down to Georgia, where he's telling a story while the song is going on, but the song's friggin' great. It's from an era of, I guess it's still country? I don't know. It's from an era of, if it is considered country music by you, it's from an era where I don't like a whole lot of country music that comes from the time. I respect it for its influence, but it's not really my style. But I really like that song. And although I say this seems pretty generic and inoffensive, I don't really know why it's on the worst of all time.
A lot of these are weird.
Let's see here. Paralyzed by Legendary Stardust Cowboy. Well, why don't we? Alright.
Alright, this sounds like it's going to be a ride.
Let's see what
I like the name.
Alright.
And also, I always go to Bob Dylan's playing the instruments they weren't proficient with. Yeah, it sounds to me like like if the Swedish Chef were a rock star, and Bob Dylan,
and we're also Animal and some guy on a ukulele, and a bugle. Apparently, we found out there was a bugle solo in that.
That was pretty bad. I'll agree that was not a good song.
This is the first one that I can actually consider bad because it actually sounds inherently bad, and because it's got worse than the Clash levels of incoherency.
I think I heard him say "Welcome to the show."
I will believe you on that.
It sounds like a reasonable thing to say.
So
it just sounded like just complete encouragement. Him just screaming, just banging on a bunch of instruments.
Yeah, so I can
and
understand
just random dooting.
I can understand why this one made the list. This one actually seems qualified to be.
It was very low effort.
Yeah, it seems like a pretty.
It's kind of
incompetent song.
It's pretty crappy. I'll call it crappy.
All right, so I've been told that I might know this one already.
Weird Al did a parody called Jurassic Park. The lyrics are.
I'm guessing what that's supposed to be implying is that it rained on the wedding day is kind of what I would be taking away from that if I were to try and analyze.
Sad.
Yeah, I could analyze a metaphor out of that if that's what they're trying to say.
I mean, it's barely a metaphor.
But it specifically says it's worst ever written. And then it emphasizes that it's talking about the lyrics when it's talking about it. So I will go through and read the lyrics so that we can get what they're talking about. Because, first off, this is by actor Richard Harris, who played Dumbledore in the very first Harry Potter movie. So...
Oh yeah, it rained on the cake and it was bad. And that's what it's about. It ruined their wedding cake.
Yeah, okay. So... these are the lyrics that are apparently the worst written lyrics, according to some people in like 70s or 80s.
And they're silly.
The spring was never waiting for us, girl. It ran one step ahead as we followed the dance between the parted pages and were pressed in love's hot, fevered iron like a striped pair of pants. MacArthur's Park is melting in the dark, all the sweet green icing flowing down. Someone left the cake out in the rain. I don't think that I can take it because it took so long to bake it, and I'll never have that recipe again. Oh no. Which is funny in and of itself.
Oh no.
I recall the yellow cotton dress foaming like a wave. On the ground around your knees, the birds like tender babies in your hands. And the old men playing checkers by the trees. MacArthur's Park, da-da-da-da-da. There will be another song for me, for I will sing it. There will be another dream for me. Someone will bring it. I will drink the wine while it's warm, and never let you catch me looking at the sun. And after all the loves of my life, you'll still be the one. I will take my life into my hands, and I will use it. I will win the warship in the eyes, and I will lose it. I will have the things that I desire, and my passion flow like rivers through the sky. And after all the loves of my life, I'll be thinking of you and wondering why. Oh no, oh no, no, oh no.
Oh no.
So,
it's not that bad.
Again, it's not the most amazing song of all time.
It seems competent.
It seems anachronistic to its era, maybe a little bit, being almost at the cusp of the 70s, but then you had plenty of things like Monty Python going out this time that had kind of similar musical fonts, for lack of a better description, which is really a messy description because the sound font is a different thing. But, I don't know, it does not seem like it qualifies as the worst anything.
Again, it's competent.
Yeah,
especially musically.
Wait until we get farther through this, because I have some examples of worst music, and this is by far. It won't. This will sound like a Beethoven piece by the time we're done. All right, so
next
now we have a
very classic.
A Beatles track is going to be next. It's going to be one of the worst songs of all time.
I know one of the Beatles hated this song, like, vehemently. If that's the right word.
Remastered.
It's nothing special.
Yeah, what I will say is, for a band that was so influential, it's minimalist. It's a pretty standard guitar part. It's a pretty standard rhythm. The lyrics aren't exceptional. They almost sound a little bit like high schooler writing in their notebook. But, again, it's not really the worst, because, again, it's still competent. It's still...
I'd say the Beatles have written worse.
Yeah, it says here that John Lennon and George Harrison both hated it, and it was voted the worst track ever recorded in a listener poll by Mars Incorporated.
Also appeared in Blender's 50 Worst Songs.
Yeah, 50 Worst Songs Ever. As a non-music journalist, I can say I don't know if I would list this on my top 50. It'd be hard to tell because 50 is a lot of songs.
But there are definitely a lot of worse songs than this. Again, so far I'd say of all the ones ever, Paralyzed was the worst. Well, no, I mean, some of those novelty songs I don't know about, but
see, because that's the other thing that's not fair, is because
the novelty songs were novelty songs.
I can list off several novelty songs I'll go through at the end, because they're not really part of what I would consider the list. Because if you include things like One-Eyed, One-Horn, Flying Purple People...
Oh my god!
Or Itsy Bitsy Teeny Weeny Yellow Polka Dot
Oh!
They're...
What genre is that even?
They're supposed to be fun and playful. They're not really able to be analyzed by the same aspects.
The biggest crime is being annoying.
Yeah. And so...
And down a ways below we have what just says the most annoying track. That'll be interesting.
It's like... They're not produced to be amazing songs. They're produced to be fun, and they got successful because they're fun, or were fun. I don't know.
Right.
And then you have other ones that I will to this day defend. That Monster Mash is a wonderful song because I can hear it at any point and I will do my best impression I can of Bobby Boris Pickett.
It's a fun song. I mean, it's
cheesy and
it's
campy,
super, but it's a fun song.
But of all of the Halloween songs, name a more iconic Halloween song.
Thriller.
You win.
I know that Boris has actually done several like follow-ups to the Monster Mash that are basically the Monster Mash, but not as good.
I've heard Dracula's something.
There's the Monster Motion.
Bobby Boris Pickett. Dracula. Is it Franklin? I can't remember who. I've heard one of them because it also plays on the Halloween playlist when we had it at work. Further parodies. Star Drek.
That sounds kind of.
The Monster Rap was released.
Oh God.
Whatever happened to my Transylvania twist? Where's his discography?
He didn't make any. He didn't do any music.
Oh, okay. There we go. The greatest Halloween soundtrack.
I mean, would have to have the Monster Mash in it.
Yeah. My only argument against Thriller is that I don't know if it's inherently a Halloween song so much as a spooky song.
That's true.
Whereas Monster Mash is pretty much a Halloween song.
Yes, absolutely.
Bobby Boy.
I mean, there are other good ones, but I'd say that is probably the most Halloween song.
The Monster Man Jam.
The
Me
Monster
and
Motion,
My Mummy.
Monster Concert. Unfortunately, the only real like hit he had, I guess, was the Monster Mash, which was apparently his first.
Yeah, I can't find it. There's one that we heard, or that I heard on the playlist. It's actually probably on my Shazam because I tried to figure out what it was.
Maybe it wasn't by him.
No, it said Bobby Boris Pickett.
Oh.
But anyway, so this whole digression aside, having a parody song is also not really fair to have on the list because of the fact that it doesn't fit. But where do you draw the line? So I guess it's fair to say that they're
I'd say that the worst parody song is probably going to be the worst by virtue of how offensive it would be.
Yeah.
There's a whole artist I kind of hate for just how offensive they are. Some are like parody artists who will revel in just how shocking they can be.
Ooh.
I think it was Rucka Rucka Alley or something. Some songs by him, this sounds like it's going to be a mess.
Oh, worst song. Voted by CNN.com users in 2006. Received extensive backlash. Oh. Celebration of Pregnancy.
Oh, this could be uncomfortable, but I guess that's the point.
You're Having My Baby by Paul Anka and
Odia Coates.
Alright, so I've read through the lyrics and I've listened to the song. Musically, no. I don't see anything wrong with it. Lyrically,
it's kind of creepy.
It's weird, but I don't know if it's wrong because really all he's saying is he's so happy that she's keeping the baby and that they're going to be parents. It's kind of worded awkwardly, but that could be the fact that it's from the 70s, to be honest.
By feminists, and some people are just looking for a reason to be offended.
Yeah. I mean, it mostly from reading it sounds like a guy who's happy to find out he's going to be a father, and that maybe they weren't planning to be a couple, but the fact that they're willing to go through with it and get married, I'm guessing because it's the 70s. I don't know. It just doesn't seem like there's any reason for this to be considered one of the worst.
This song doesn't have a Wikipedia article.
It sounds like, kind of as he's saying, people looking for reason to be offended. It doesn't sound like there's anything inherently bad about it. It sounds like someone who's just happy that they're having
disco.
Which I'm not surprised there's disco on here. It's a very commercial genre.
Oh, I mean, it sounds like...
Yeah, it says, disco song is narrated in the style of a British newscast. Bosang K.
It turns out that's not a good idea.
Had recently resigned as a news anchor at the time. Okay, again, I don't know if it's the worst, only because I have something to show you later. This is not the worst, but I can see why people would find it awful.
It's bad.
One, it has a coherent instrumental line, so that automatically gives it points over some of the things that I'm going to talk about later.
It's better than Paralyzed.
And
But...
two, it does have what's supposed to be like a poetic flow to the lyrics, which is one step ahead of, as he said, Paralyzed.
Which is just noise.
But it does make me think of Rocket Man by William Shatner. Because so William Shatner doesn't sing; he talks the lyrics to his songs.
Yeah.
Which, in modern time, there's demonstration that you can use music without singing, and it can be fine. There are plenty of what I would actually consider completely phenomenal rap tracks, for example. You can even deviate farther from what is traditionally considered musical into the realm of slam poetry and still find things that I would say are musically coherent and competent.
Yeah, this is too slow for me, though.
But in this case, it just feels so awkward, I think, is the biggest part of why it feels so bad. But if that's not on the list, I don't know why this other song was on the list, is why I say that. Because both of them have the same kind of... Really?
This song, I have high expectations from this. And by high, I mean...
Exceptionally low expectations?
I expect something memorable.
Okay, well, I'll take your word for it.
I'd never heard this.
So...
That's what it's called. The Birdie Song, apparently.
Yeah, so, most people know this is the Chicken Dance song.
It's from 81? I know, it's older than that.
So, I wouldn't consider this the worst song of all time. This falls into why I was arguing that they may not include parody was not on the list, which could have been a fair argument if you could define a barrier.
This is a classic.
But this is a comedic and jokey song that if this is on here, I suspect that the Macarena will be on here and possibly the Cha-Cha Slide, because it's the same kind of get people moving and acting awkwardly weird in public places kind of song. But instrumentally, this does not breach any...
I feel this song...
any offensive traits.
I think the song is what it tried to be.
Yeah. I don't know if they're arguing it because it's accordion, but if they do, then you're offending Weird Al, because Weird Al's very competent at the accordion, and I think the accordion can sound beautiful, especially in more slow, romantic kind of style.
I'm disappointed at how non-irritating it was. It's for the most annoying track of all time. And the Clash guitarist Mick Jones named it the worst song ever written. As did Simon Burton in The Guardian.
You see what I've highlighted?
Yeah?
They're arguing that just because it's saccharine, it's one of the worst songs of all time.
Oh boy. You know this song?
Oh yeah.
I think it is a bit too saccharine. It's too saccharine for my taste, but...
It's cheesy and it's campy, but again, I want you to think of how many songs there are, just numbers. To consider this the worst...
No, I wouldn't say...
Is a huge flaw, because, one, you have two talented people working
Sturgeon's
on the song.
Law. Sturgeon's Law.
And two, while it's not great, both of these people have enough musical talent that they could have created something more spectacular.
It feels very minimalist, also.
While they both could have created something far more spectacular, I argue, it's not horrible, and it's not offensive.
I think it's mediocre. It's not. Okay. It's not offensive in the slightest. It's quite the opposite. It's very wholesome.
Yeah, it's cutesy. And I don't necessarily think that the claim that it's one of the worst of all time is founded. Again, not great, but...
Again, the only song on this where I'd say is just downright
Paralyzed.
Bad is Paralyzed, because it's just noise.
Alright, True by Spandau Ballet. Worst songs by
it's
St.
pop
Petersburg
music.
Times, music columnist Sean Daly, and The Guardian journalist Luke
Dreadful
Williams.
Wine Bar Soul. Worst love song of all time. 10 songs we never ever want to hear again, and worst pop lyrics. I cannot tell is by the name exactly what's being said, but
Okay, so I can see part of the criticism they're talking about here. The lyrics, for what they are very, very generic. There's a lot of like, one, how do I write the next line in a song is kind of an awkward thing to put. But two, it's a lot of cliches. It's like a lot of like, I'm spilling out my soul, and I mean,
yeah.
So it's. Yeah.
I guess I'd call it unremarkable.
If this divided considered to be the worst into lyrically and musically, maybe we would have a different opinion, because I think right now in my head I'm thinking sounds atrocious, and this sounds fine enough musically that it's okay.
It's just mediocre at worst.
Yeah. And if we're gonna go by list of most mediocre music of all time, you have basically every song that's ever been made, because the majority of songs are gonna be in the middle. But in and of what it is, it's not awful. It's not creative, but it's not awful.
Paralyzed still is taking the cake.
Yeah, Paralyzed so far, that's a tough act to follow. Although I can beat it, but that's a tough act to follow.
Agadoo.
Now we're at... Okay, so again, if we're talking about lyrics, hold on for a second and let's talk about In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida by Iron Butterfly, shall we? The singer was so drunk that there aren't any actual, like, coherent lyrics to be spoken of, necessarily.
In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, no. So...
It's just...
There were lyrics. It was supposed to be in the Garden of Eden, and there were lyrics that were supposed to be composed.
But he was too drunk to say it.
Yeah, but he was so drunk that he couldn't even sing the lyrics correctly.
Instead, he said, In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida.
Yeah, so isn't that automatically worse than ones that have actual lyrics, I would argue?
Well,
I mean, there are some words.
If he's too drunk to say the lyrics, is it scat? No? Okay.
I feel like there has to be a certain speed or something
that
to be
makes
scat
sense.
music. And again, there you go, scat music. It's technically not lyrics, but it is vocalizations. Does that count?
I mean...
Plus you have the Tingo Skra.
And scat can be good.
I'm the scat man.
Yeah, I love that song. Yeah. It feels good.
What are we diving into here?
I don't know. That is not okay. I don't know what...
Alright, so... Yeah, see, they don't consider it a credible song. That again goes into the issue. If this was written for radio play, I will give this a point as a bad song. If this was written as a kids' show song, then that's not fair, because...
I think the costumes are hilarious.
Then you have to include the entire playlist that was done by, what were they called, the Wiggles. And then you're automatically talking about things that are like Big Red Car and stuff like that. And that's not really fair either, because that's not... But if this was specifically written to play on the radio, which it looks like it is, because you don't have a cocktail bar in a kid's show,
and also
at least not in the 90s.
Originally it was banned from the radio for not being credible.
Yeah. So, but if it's just supposed to be a campy, like, 80s dance, like at a disco bar song, I can see why
this does seem like it has the potential to be very annoying.
And I can see why it would be considered bad. This is the first one that is...
It's cringy.
Musically competent, but I would consider it arguably a bad song.
It's cringy.
Yeah.
The next song is another song I am familiar with. Are you?
No, I do know several songs by Phil Collins. I've never heard this song.
I don't know any of the lyrics, except...
My claim. This is not a bad song.
I mean, I toe tap it. It's very toe tappy.
It is a perfectly fine 80s dance song, and I would find it on a playlist and not be bothered by it.
But what is a Susudio?
It sounds okay.
Is it a name?
Musically, it's alright. It may be written as campy 80s music.
It is a little.
But if you put this following All Night Long by Lionel Richie, I would be down. It would sound like, a fun 80s party mix, whatever. I don't find this to be on the worst. I don't think this would be one of the worst songs of all time. I think you're
maybe the worst.
You're aiming so high by making that hyperbolic mark. And while the song I have in mind as the worst song of all time could be argued not the worst song of all time, although you'd have to be the most amazing debater of all time to convince me of that. There might be something worse out there. If you find it, fine. But compared to this, not even the same, like...
It's not the same ballpark.
It's not the same universe, not the same time-space continuum.
We built this city. What
Yeah.
the hell?
Now, we'll go back to this for a second. I'm not going to play the whole song again. We already played it. But this song, I get why they're trying to argue traditionally corporate and generic. There was a similar thing that happened where at one time Pink won the Pop Song of the Year at the Teen Choice Awards or something, and she was so bothered by it because she hated the idea of being a pop star. Oh no, it was MTV Music Awards, and her trophy fell apart as well. The like flag that's on it that's supposed to spindle actually fell off while she was on the stage. She goes, "Oh no, it fell off. It's so sad." Just being kind of parodious of it. But I can see why she was bothered. I don't think it's fair though, because as I was saying earlier, if you're trying to get a message to a group of people who listens to a type of music, making music that sounds like that seems like that would be a functional way to reach that audience. Now, the fact that most of the people who listen to the song are going to take that away, because kind of like when I was telling Shin that Electric Avenue is a particularly political song, he didn't know. It's a song you listen to, you know?
It is groove. I like it.
And so, I don't know on that. This one has a dead actor in it.
This is very famous.
The arguments that can be made for this song is, one, it's, again, very minimalist. It's a guy beatboxing a little bit, I guess you could say. But it does match harmony to harmony.
Just gotta check the name. Legendary Stardust Cowboy. My underwear froze to the clothes. Is that the whole name? Yeah.
So
I hate when my underwear freezes to the clothes.
It could be a typo that made it funny. But either way, but one thing I can say is I can see how like SJW type might be offended saying well, just be happy and you won't be depressed line. But I don't think that's what he's trying to go for here necessarily, because he's specifically saying things that are really crappy. It's, I think, a little bit tongue-in-cheek.
He's just grin and bear it.
Yeah, he's like, you just deal with it. That's how life is. Everybody has to deal with crap. But
seriously though, if someone steals your bed, you call the police.
Its tone, unlike Ebony and Ivory, which I guess is both tone and lyrics, its tone is very saccharine. But again, I definitely don't think I could fit this on, definitely not my top 10, but
maybe your top 50.
If you had a top 50, again, it's hard to tell, because 50 is a big number.
But there
I
are
don't
a
know
lot of
all the
songs.
songs, and there are a lot of songs in the world.
You don't know all the songs yet?
I don't know all of them. I've been slacking, I know.
I mean, I guess it's impossible, but
I've been
thank
slacking.
you for using Joy to Key.
Alright, that's great.
Just look at that mustache, it's nice.
But yeah, so I will call this one not the worst ever.
Here's a famous song that I've actually not heard.
This is a famous song. Now, before I get started, one, I don't care what you say, Vanilla Ice. Yes, it's a ripoff of Queen's, or David Bowie and Freddie Mercury's Under Pressure. You can't get away with saying it's not. Have you heard that song? Under Pressure? Yeah, okay. So you've never recognizably heard Ice Ice speak. Yeah.
Is all I know of this. It's like Can't Touch This versus Super Freak.
Have you heard the whole compilation of that you can put any song that Can't Touch This that's from the 70s? Yeah, it's by Jimmy Fallon, I think.
Wow, that is totally a ripoff.
Okay, so it's a ripoff, but here's my thing.
Set back the cause of white people in hip hop a decade.
Okay, that's fair. It's super cheesy and very white people. I will give it that. That's not an unfair claim at all. But that is different than what is the worst song of all time. I wouldn't argue that this is on the top 10. It does get points in the bad for being a ripoff, and that they argue it and argue that it's not.
But maybe it's a coincidence.
No, there's no way it's a coincidence. Especially with the piano part being in the chorus.
They forgot to remove that part.
So starting there, this is not the worst though, because if you are sampling, rap has had samples for decades. A lot of music is sampled for decades and possibly centuries and onward. Rap is sampled forever, so sampling is not in and of itself an inoffensive problem. It's the fact that he argues that it's different when it actually is a ripoff and everyone knows it. That's a problem. Musically, sampling Freddie Mercury and David Bowie, you automatically are sampling a really good pedigree of song. So
that's cheating.
You can't take the music as bad, musically. The rhythm that goes with it is very basic. It's generic, but it's definitely not the worst. If Casio could put it in as a pre-programmed sample, it was good enough that Casio would sell it on their sample. Whatever. The lyrics, at time, are hella white people, which is fine, and that's a fair criticism. But the lyrics are still competent enough that I have definitely heard worse rap songs. I have absolutely heard worse rap songs. I don't know if I have a good sample that I would know the name of, but I have definitely heard worse rap songs.
Next song is a song that everybody in my generation knows.
Everyone knows this song.
You belong in my generation?
Talking about my generation?
What about David Beethoven?
I know, he's sad. Don't talk about that.
This is a country song. Kind of great. Eating and I don't know. It's something.
It's repetitive, which will help for that too. It has a fairly repetitive melody.
It's an earworm.
It has a fairly repetitive instrumental line. It's very by the books, basic how to make a pop song that is a country version of that rule.
Saying it's just country Elvis.
So it's basic, but it was successful for a reason. It does all the things it needs to do well enough to be a pop song.
So mathematically, it might be a good song.
Yes, and so I don't think I could consider it one of those.
It's just a song maybe a lot of people got tired of hearing.
The Cyrus family carries with it a lot of baggage that I think probably condemns this a little bit, being that both he and his daughter have criticisms, but also that some people found...
Historically accurate, we didn't start the fire. I wonder what that means.
Okay. But also his son has some criticisms of being part of like a really campy scene movement in the early parts of the 2000s, and there could be some criticism there, but even so, I really did enjoy some Metro stations, so that doesn't bother me.
It's the song's legacy.
I don't think it's fair to consider this one of the worst songs. I could see how an individual might define it as a bad song, but again, you're talking two completely different things.
Yeah, we still have Paralyzed and Agadoo.
Yeah, two have worked so far. Two fit that. Again, I know this song.
I don't think I do, but Barry
Manilow.
Yeah. I've heard of him.
The artist is Take That.
I'd say it's weak.
Okay.
I mean, I like the beat, but...
I automatically disqualify any cover that was of a successful song unless it is actively performed badly. So I automatically strike this from the list because it's a successful song in its historicity, and the performers are all decent vocalists, and the instrumentation is not conflicting with them. So I disqualify this from the list in that it doesn't do anything good, but it doesn't really do anything bad. I mean, it does something bad in that it's bland, but if we put every bland song on here, you wouldn't have a top 50 for sure. It looks like what they're trying to go for in the music video, which you're not seeing, that he was laughing at. So, there's a comedian who makes a joke at one point where he's talking about 80s songs and how they do whatever through the power of metal. I think it's Patton Oswalt. I don't know. Don't quote me on that because I don't remember. But one of the things he says is, and them rocking out in a factory that just makes sparks is what they do. That's kind of what this was making me think of, but I also think that what they're trying to do is act like it's the stage of a musical and they're on it and moving things around. But
they look really into it, but maybe a bit too into it.
They look like they're way too into it for what's happening. They're like, yeah, man,
they look like 16 years old.
They look like the Ultimate Warrior doing a promo, except that they're singing a poppy cover of a pop song from the 70s. This next one,
I don't feel I'm qualified to judge it.
We both disagree on this song.
I don't feel I'm qualified to judge it. I can't say it's not bad or good. Maybe it's because I'm a meme lord, but the original
You're
has
not a meme lord. So my first thing I'll say, and this is something that's gonna fly over Shin's head, is this is the most Alanis Morissette song that's not by Alanis Morissette.
That went completely over my head.
Yeah. So I don't know why this is considered awful. The description that people have written here doesn't even glean any information for me to argue.
It is just the worst thing in the history of everything.
Yeah, which I don't get. So,
the next song sounds like a novelty song.
Musically, this song is 100% okay.
I like it.
I think that it's very attuned to the mid-90s musical stylings, so it fit its niche perfectly fine. Let's look at the lyrics so we can try and glean if there's any lyrical credibility to it.
There's definitely something. I just haven't quite grasped what.
25 years of my life is still trying to get up that big hill of hope for a destination. I realized quickly when I knew I should what the world's made of this brotherhood of man for whatever that means. And so I cry sometimes when I'm lying in bed just to get out what's in my head, and I am feeling a little peculiar. And so I wake in the morning and I step outside and I take a deep breath and I get real high and I scream at the top of my lungs, "What's going on?" And
I try, oh my God, do I try? I try all the time in this institution. And I pray, oh my God, do I pray? I pray every single day for a revolution.
And then other than that, so one, it doesn't have a whole lot of lyrics.
I mean, for me, it feels like a song that someone who's trying to figure out
their own
purpose in life.
Yeah, their life, which is a perfectly fine thing to write about.
And they don't know what's going on.
So lyrically, that's fine.
The thing is, the name of the song is "What's Up."
There's nothing wrong with that.
I know.
Linkin Park has several songs that don't even show up in their lyrics.
You just touched my shirt. How dare! Thank you.
So I already find it unfair to put it on the list because its lyrics aren't bad and its music isn't bad.
And the lyrics.
If you're going to consider something a worst, it can't just be it's popular. That's a really stupid argument.
You can't say the only argument given is it's bad because it's the worst.
Yeah. If you can't make an argument for what makes it bad,
come back.
Unless the literal situation is you just have to hear it, in which case the person can make that judgment for themselves, then get out of here because it's bad. All you're doing is poisoning the well for when they listen to it.
What is this? I don't know what this is.
I don't know what this is, but it's a Christmas release.
Which means it has to be a novelty.
Which, again, it's a novelty, which means I'll take it with a grain of salt, but I'm already suspicious from the picture.
What the hell?
Okay, so as I said earlier, you can make a novelty song that is bad.
It looks like an opening to something, but I can't imagine what it would be.
Mr. Blobby.
I don't know what that is. I don't want to know what that is.
Okay, so apparently this is mentally scarred Shin, which is where we are right now.
Scary.
I can argue this is bad. Again, I don't know if I can put it on a top 10 or a top 50 list because that's a really daunting task. But it's definitely able to at least qualify as a bad song and one that someone could
even if this is a novelty, it's bad. It has weird farty noises.
Someone could Awful Hospital this. I could see them putting it in that list. But again, I don't necessarily know that I can make it on a list because, again, you're asking a lot by saying a list.
I think it's not. The next song is not a novelty.
Well, not in and of itself.
I think this song gets a lot of hate. I am not familiar with it. I'm scared.
here's the thing. It is absolutely a case of it being... Where's this band from? I want to say they're from the Netherlands.
Yes, Aqua Bad.
Danish, Norwegian. So this falls exactly into what I would have heard called Europop dross during the 90s. There's a lot of, like, European dance pop music that came overseas to here. But the problem is, this is a song that falls into that same situation as Jefferson Starship. It's critical, and it's targeting the audience that is criticizing. This is a song criticizing mindless women who make their life off of their bodies.
Oh!
Which, okay, that's fine. You're going to offend some people because there's nothing inherently wrong with doing what you want to do. But it is making a social statement in a song in a genre that those people would listen to. And so I don't think it's fair to really say that about it. It's not
I find it unpleasant to listen to.
It's not the most brilliant song of all time, clearly. It's definitely something that's kind of in the mid-lower tier of quality for generic pop as far as its style, but it might even be exactly what they were going for, was to make something so absolutely inoffensively generic in its musical styling that it would make it on the radio, and then the masses would hear this song and take away the argument that, you know, see, because if you look here, I'm a blonde bimbo girl in a fantasy world. Dress me up, make it tight, I'm your dolly. You're my doll, feel glamour and pink. It's saying, isn't this all so stupid? I mean, in a way.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so... It's definitely not easy listening. Ugh.
Yeah, and I would say, I mean, and this is my take on having listened to a lot more dance and stuff like that, it's not the worst dance song I've ever heard. I mean, it's not great.
It could be a lot better.
But, again, I find it unfair to rank it as one of the worst because
I think it's
there's certainly a case to be made.
Musically, I'd say it's but I can
musically, I'd say it's by the book. That's what I would say. Musically, I'd say it's by the book. It's very basic. It's very simple. It does what it needs to do. And since this is an HD width, I didn't cover the whole video. So there's like little lines moving up the sides of our picture.
They're magical.
But yeah, so
I don't like it at all.
It's inoffensive. I mean, someone might find it offensive, I guess, in the lyrics being what they are.
Oh, absolutely.
But it's not the worst. I wouldn't even argue it's bad.
I think it's grating.
It's okay. I could definitely see how it could be considered annoying.
I'm not sure if I know what this song is, but
we're
entering the 90s now, so we're exiting.
We're exiting the 90s.
We've gone past the 80s, so we've exited my comfort zone, and we're just
his musical consciousness.
It turns out I'm not just a 70s guy. I'm also 80s.
Yeah, no, I definitely thought that.
Yeah, we're leaving the 90s, so...
Okay, so now we're on to Desiree's
We're getting
life.
into music I've grown up with that I did not attach to.
I don't know this song off the top of my head. I might recognize it when it plays.
Same.
Okay,
So stupid!
so this one's obviously on there for its lyrics, as we can tell. First thing I'll say, Desiree, decent voice. She sounds fine lyrically. The lyrics, though, are atrocious.
One person's been quoted as having the worst lyrics ever in polls. Yeah, the "I don't want to see a ghost" is the side I fear most. I'd rather have a piece of toast.
Watch the evening news. Okay, so, but again, Desiree, perfectly fine voice. The instrumentation's okay, but the lyrics, I can see how the lyrics could list you on a worst list at the very least. But again, definitely not the worst.
Not that they're afraid of a ghost, they just don't want to see one.
Alright, this next song he probably knows, and he probably doesn't like it.
The name certainly doesn't give me very good expectations.
It's not a great song. It's okay. It's definitely 90s.
Right.
He knows the song. He recognizes it. He remembers what it is. Okay, so what I will say first off, musically, the instrumental and stuff, basic.
It's okay.
Not terrible. The lyrics, crass, lowest common denominator.
And they're also kind of dumb.
Delivered okay. He delivers the lines fine. It stays with rhythm fairly well. And again, while they're not spectacular lyrics, they're coherent, which automatically puts them 2 steps above at least 2 songs we've had on this list.
This will shock you, but I find it vulgar.
So here's my thought on it, though. Absolutely a 90s, 2000s song. And I'm sure part of it is my bias of being a 90s kid. It's catchy. It's fine. It's not great.
The next song is one I'm very familiar with.
Is this the one about the one whose mom died?
Yeah.
Okay, we're not going to play much of this song because I don't really want to listen to it because it's depressing.
My mom was...
This is 100% Christian pop radio. Start to finish. It's very basic, generic, guy singing like this, and he's talking about Jesus, or in this case, he's talking about Christmas. Mm-hmm. And so, it's basic. It follows exactly that to a T. It's generic. The story they're telling, though, while it is hella depressing...
It's sad.
...is actually a pretty decent story to tell. So you can't criticize it for
it's about the spirit of giving.
Yeah. Well, it's not only about the spirit of giving, but it's also about coping with loss and a child dealing with loss and trying to at least help them get through it. So it's fair what's being written. So lyrically, I can't even criticize it, even though I'm not a big Christian music fan. The only
thing I have against that is that makes me feel sad.
Yeah, it makes you sad, which...
It's supposed
That's its job! Good job!
I feel that there is room for sad songs.
And not only that, it's not even... This falls under the sad in a way that To the Moon is sad story.
It's wholesome.
It's trying to be happy in it. She gets her shoes at the end, and the kid gets to let her go off with what she wanted, even though he's too late to get back to the room or whatever it is.
Well, I don't think the song goes that far.
I think so. I think that the last verse is him bringing the shoes to his mom or whatever. I don't remember. I haven't listened to the song in a long time.
It ends with this guy giving the kid the money to buy the shoes.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Okay, so, but what I will say is, I don't get it. I don't get why you would consider this one of the worst songs. It's basic, but it tells a pretty decent story for a song like this.
Oh, yeah, worst Christmas song? Hell no!
I have one.
Oh my god, no. There are some terrible Christmas songs, and I'm sure you'll agree.
6 words. I want a hippopotamus for Christmas.
That's a novelty song. Those aren't most Christmas songs.
We already went over Mr. Blobby qualifies for the list. I want a hippopotamus. I don't know what that is, but it sounds that sounds like an STD.
I was going to say, that sounds kind of dirty, actually. Never mind, it's not. Actually. You do not want that for Christmas.
Don't get a hippopotamus for Christmas.
It's bad. People die from that.
You'll be in the doctor's office for a long time.
You die from a hippopotamus, too.
Yeah. Anyway... and then Santa Baby qualifies for the list.
Last Christmas?
Because I've heard it so much, I will say yes. The Last Christmas is it George Michael?
I don't know, but I can barely consider it a Christmas song. It's just it's just another You Suck song.
Yeah, it's Wham.
Wham, really?
Yeah.
I cursed the name.
There's there's another one that came to mind, though, besides the ones we've already listed. I Saw Mommy Kissing Santa Claus.
Oh! I do not like younger Michael Jackson.
That's not even the version I'm talking about.
I don't
the one that plays on our radio is like a 1950s really, really slow version that's awful.
At least I don't have to worry about that at my job. I can't hear anything. No one can hear anything.
Let's see. There's one other, though. That wasn't the one that was in my head. I don't know. There's another one out there, though, that I definitely put on the list way below this. Because, again, this is actually succeeding at what it does. I don't know why they... I will say, New Song is a really stupid name for an artist.
The next one is... My God, is that really 2000s? Damn, we're old.
Oh, God. I knew that was a song from 2000.
I'm sure everyone... This is a well-known song.
Okay. This is a
nice teeth there.
This is a dance song, and if you're going to include every dance song on the list, that's not fair. What I will say is, I grew up right when this came out. It appealed to me as a kid. I can't give this one a no because it's okay. It's melodically really good, actually. I really enjoy the melody.
It loops too short. It's too repetitive.
I was gonna say it's repetitive.
I mean, a lot of music is, but...
But it's a dance song. It's inherently going to be repetitive, because you want something that you can move easily to enough to think too hard about. That's fine. It's definitely not on the list of the worst songs of all time, though, let me tell you.
It's also definitely not on the list of the best.
Well, I never argued that it was going to be on the list of the best. That would be, one, really stupid. Two, what did I do with my playlist?
Hey, Mario faces.
There it is. Alright, so... I deny this one. It's not great. Don't get me wrong, it's not great.
The verses need to be longer.
But, that said, it's definitely not on the worst. This one, I also argue, not on the worst. I've heard this song too many times, but it's not the worst. I actually think that the story's pretty good. I'm not seen on this list that qualify. Okay, so... To consider this song one of the worst songs of all time is to either consider the Counting Crows one of the worst bands of all time because it sounds exactly like a Counting Crows song. To consider Ooh Bop 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 an offensive claim in a song.
I mean...
Or to hate Joni Mitchell's original, because all three of those are the things that go into the song. It doesn't qualify as one of the worst songs because it's done perfectly fine and... It still expresses plenty of emotion, especially when it gets to listening late last night. I heard the screen door slam and a big yellow taxi took my girl away. He still sounds very emotional for what the song is, so I don't really know. It's not declining to put the tone in the song. It's not musically incorrect. Lyrically, it doesn't break anything. It's a cover of a Joni Mitchell song that was successful. I don't know why you could put it on the list.
Now,
this one, Shin's already not a fan of by its name, I'm certain.
I don't know if I've heard this before.
I have. Okay.
I hate it. I really do not... That's bad. It's just bad.
Okay, so...
The lyrics are bad, the music is...
This is a case of, it's certainly a bad song, but I don't know if I could put it on the worst list simply because of what you're asking by making a list of the worst songs of all time.
I'm not even offended by the vulgarity like I was expecting. No, it's just... dumb.
So, with that said, no, not a good song. It's bad.
Yes, it's bad.
It is, again, as I was saying, what would have been considered kind of Europop trash from the late 90s, early 2000s. It's trash. Very basic, simple, generic instrumentation for the music. The lyrics are sung by a person with a thick enough Spanish accent that I could see how someone who speaks a more thoroughly fluent version of the language might find annoying in a song, which I think is an unfair claim when it comes to what's good and not, because you can't control how your voice sounds, but I can see how someone could criticize it on that. It has no content to its lyrics. It definitely qualifies as a bad song. It doesn't hit on any marks that are going to make it anything, but it also is a factory-produced song to sell music, and I'm sure it worked. So
I hate it.
It's not good. It's not good. Oh, hey, I'm off the screen again. I need to lean back. It's off. It's not good, but again, when you say the worst of all time, you have to really back that up. This song, I disagree with. I can sing this song, and I'm not even embarrassed. I can sing this song, although I don't know why he's getting naked in the video and jumping in the ocean.
It's freaking cold.
I
kind of weird.
whiny pop song.
I hate whiny songs.
It's definitely not brilliant like his life apparently is. It's not.
You can say the artist's music.
I do enjoy the song though. I'm not even ironic about that. I enjoy the song. I thought it was a decent song when I listened to it on the radio. It's enjoyable. James Blunt makes fun of himself all the time for the song on his Twitter. He's actually a really funny guy. It's okay. I definitely wouldn't put it on my top 10 or my bottom 10 at all.
It's a lot better than the previous song.
Now, this next song that's going to play, I'm going to preface it.
The next two, dear
I'm going to preface this. This song is not anywhere on the bottom list of the worst songs of all time. But it might be the worst Black Eyed Peas song of all time. I don't know because I haven't listened to every single one. But this is certainly my least favorite Black Eyed Peas song I have heard.
This is one of the most annoying songs.
I could see why, because it's repetitive. First off, let me say, My Lovely Lady Lumps is the least sexy sounding way I've ever heard that said.
It's disgusting!
But now...
You want to get those checked out!
Yeah. So,
there's nothing lovely about them!
Don't use the word lumps when you're talking about your body and how good it looks. It is not a good song.
My mouth is tired from all this extreme frowning.
It actually has more complex lyrics than some of the ones that have been on the list, though, so I gotta give it a point for that. Instrumentally, very, 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 very basic. And definitely not the best song by the Black Eyed Peas, because they have songs I really like. I will say outright. There are songs by Black Eyed Peas I like. I'm not embarrassed by that. It's fine. They have perfectly good songs. This is probably the weakest song on their entire multi album. I don't even remember how many albums.
Don't be afraid to talk to your doctor about your
not so lovely lady lumps.
I mean,
it's not
you
good.
should be ashamed of them, but still, you gotta get that checked out.
Yeah. Especially if they're starting to color weird, go to the doctor about your lady.
You definitely don't sing.
And if you're a guy and you have lady lumps, absolutely go to the doctor.
That's not normal.
Okay, so that one's not a great song.
Neither is
Again,
this.
bottom 50 is... You're talking about all the songs. All the songs. So I don't know if I could even
Maybe
put it on
they're
a bottom
talking about
50.
widely recognized songs.
Okay, so... lyrics. Bottom tier lyrics. Not...
I don't even know the lyrics, but I don't want to. I don't know.
There's a tier of lyrics below this that we saw with the Blobby song and stuff like that. And then there's Incoherent, which is also obviously not fair to put on the list. Although I'd argue some songs by The Clash automatically qualify for that, and he likes The Clash. So
the lyrics are fine once you look them up. You just have to look them up.
This one's
Sometimes
lyrics,
you can find them.
like probably 60% of them are shake that laffy taffy, shake that laffy taffy, shake that laffy taffy.
Why are you calling it Laffy Taffy? It doesn't even make sense.
I don't know. But, so there's the first problem. Second is, why would you want to be Mr. Bubblegum's...
what does that even mean?
But a lot of the lyrics are very... They probably sat down for 30 minutes to find a word that rhymes with the other word. It's not great. There's a lot of mid to late 2000s R&B, dance, rap songs that have really basic lyrics and aren't very great. So, at most, I consider this forgettable. It's not really that good. I don't intentionally listen to this song. Hip Hop 365 considers it the worst hip hop song of all time.
I mean, that at least is a bit easier than worst song of all time.
I still don't know if that's fair.
I mean, there's some bad hip-hop. There's bad stuff in every genre.
Because again, you're talking... Hip-hop's been around now for like 40 years. there's gotta be some really bad stuff out there.
I mean, that's proof of it.
And again, that also depends on what you're considering the worst, what your roster is and how you're doing it. Because there's literally a song called Smack My Bitch Up. Ooh. How does that not beat this as far as lyrical content?
Well, I mean, what's in a name? I mean,
it is exactly what it is in that name. It's not hiding. It's not like Points of Authority by Linkin Park where the words aren't in it at all. That's what it's about. It's straight up what it is. So, yes, this is bad, but it's hard to say it's the worst hip-hop song of all time, because if you're going by lyrical quality, you have that. If you're going by musical quality, the instrumental is pretty basic. I don't know that it would qualify as the worst. It really depends. And even that's my claim is basing it on if a song is unapologetically offensive, it's already going to be on the worst list.
Oh.
So,
now this next song is a mystery to me.
This song, I can't even call it the worst Nickelback song of all time.
This song makes literally no sense and is the worst thing of all time.
No, it makes perfect sense. No, this
worst single of the year.
This song makes perfectly fine sense in what it's doing. This, I don't know, can even be considered the worst Nickelback song of all time right now.
You like Nickelback?
I do like Nickelback.
Okay.
I'm not even embarrassed to say that. Come at me.
I
like Nickelback.
Let's see.
But I'll argue the album this song was on was their last mostly good album, and that after this they had some okay music.
I want to see what people hate so much here.
That it was popular.
Oh, people were tired of hearing it. So I might have heard this.
So here's my thoughts on this, because I have a lot to unpack on this one, actually. I could end up on a little bit of a rant.
I got nothing on this.
This song is not one of the worst songs of all time. It suffered from being played way too much on the radio.
A lot of these songs did, I think.
This song actually has a pretty effective message for the fact that they're saying the lyrics make no sense. They're literally saying everybody just wants to be wealthy and have no challenges in life. That's what the song boils down to. And are they wrong?
I mean,
I wish I were rich and had no troubles.
I mean, I feel that's not something I should wish for, but I'm sure I'd want that. Yes.
If I could tomorrow be wealthy enough, I could pay off my parents' house and my student loan. Awesome.
If you had $1 million,
yeah. I would buy you a coat, but not a real fur. I would buy you a fur coat, but not a real fur coat. That's cruel.
I would buy you a green dress,
but not a real green dress. That's cruel.
I don't quite get what that means.
I don't know what that means either. Anyway,
fake green.
Yeah, it's like how the Blue Jays aren't really blue.
If I had $1 million, I'd be rich.
Yeah, it's also true. But anyway, it's not fair to call this one of the worst songs of all time.
I mean, it doesn't
because literally. It falls under... Okay, so there are some terms you'll hear thrown around, such as butt rock, which is what people call music that's...
The Sonic games soundtrack.
Boring and basic, and everyone's heard it before, and it's, safe and easy, and no one wants to listen to it.
I mean,
so some people throw that at it.
This song does feel pretty safe.
And you'll hear what's called lumberjack rock, which is probably... this is probably my favorite term of all time, because the whole reason that they came up with this is because... all of the beats are at this point where you can chop a piece of wood in half, cause you swing your axe and it goes like this. So I love the term. I think it's great.
Lumberjack
rock. It's called lumberjack rock.
I like that. I don't think this song did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
You can't be one of the worst songs if you did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
Did you do anything amazing?
What it is, and the other reason that people might criticize it, is it's very overbooked. You have Gene Simmons of Kiss. You have the people from what was popular at the time, the Orange County Choppers crew, singing it. You have Kid Rock. You have Willie Nelson. You have
everybody
the lead
wanted
singer
to sing the song.
of ZZ Top in it.
Oh,
I mean, there's all kinds of people in the music video.
Oh.
And so it's flaunting being rich by a bunch of people who are already rich. So I can see how people could be pissed off by the video. It's pretentious and it's arrogant and, whatever. But definitely not on the worst list of all time.
I mean, by its own virtues, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
It's I can tell you right now, there are songs by Nickelback that have been hurt by the impact of this song, which sucks, because everyone now says Nickelback is this worst band of all time, even though there are other songs that are, you know...
Are they country?
No, they're rock.
Okay, it's like country rock?
They're, contemporary rock. They're pretty basic, straight-up pop rock from the mid-2000s. I mean, it's straight up, just mid-2000s.
This is infamous.
This is infamous in being for a long time, lowest voted YouTube video of all time.
Now, what I'm wondering is...
It's not as bad as everyone says.
I say, do people hate Justin Bieber because of this, or is it the other way around?
I think very lowly of Justin Bieber because of some of the things he's done. But most of his music is basic.
So people just...
And there's definitely worse songs in his career.
So people hate this song because they hate him.
Yeah. He was the teen sensation that all the guys thought it was cool to hate when they were in junior high.
That's...
And
just like Twilight, because I hear Twilight's actually really bad.
Yeah, no, Twilight actually is bad. But
people hated him because everyone hated him, and you're supposed to hate him.
This is...
If you like him, then...
And the other thing someone might criticize about this is 100% factory-generated pop music. It is very by-the-numbers, basic pop music.
Featuring Ludacris.
Well, if you thought he was always going to be yours when you were in freaking high school, then there was your first mistake. 99.999999999% of relationships, that's probably a little bit of exaggeration. But still.
It's bad.
Most people in their first relationship aren't going to be in that same relationship.
Yeah, I feel the chorus isn't that good. I mean,
the synth is very basic. The rhythm is very basic. It's a dance song, so both of those are to be expected. I can't mark them off for that.
The rest of it was pretty.
The lyrics are all right. It tells a very high school pop story from a high school pop singer.
It's a whiny song.
It's what it is.
It's whiny.
You're mad at it for dumb reasons. See,
what? It is whiny. You can't say it's not.
No,
whiny.
like the people who wrote it rate it like the worst of all time. There's like this is a bad as far as it's not great song, but it's not. I guess actually no, it's not even a bad song. It's okay.
It's
Meteor. If someone else had performed it,
people wouldn't have known
it would have been whatever.
It would have been forgotten.
You're hating it because Justin Bieber was popular and this was the song that got him popular. Then you're trying too hard.
Now
this song.
Am I gonna like this in a bad way?
You're gonna think it's either hilarious or be offended by the ignorance of it.
Tried to eat my cell phone. It ran away. What? I mean, I get what the song's trying to say, but it's stupid.
The video looked like they had a $30 budget, but spent it all on weed by Thunderson 660. Thank you for that. Okay, so
I chew my lips too much.
To people who aren't religious, automatically it's an alienating song, and I'm not religious. So there off, you've already pushed away part of your audience, but whatever. It's not offensive because it's so fucking funny. It's stupid. So funny. Oh my god! Like if this were a parody, it's perfect.
But I don't think it is.
It's not a parody.
No, so it's just dumb.
There are in a song that was produced and sold as a serious song, as far as I can tell. They might be the most amazing pose of all time. There are lyrics like, fucking rainbows, and fucking magnets, how did they work? I don't want to talk to no scientist. They be lying and getting me pissed. Those are the lyrics you're working with? Okay. I was talking before about how there are way worse rap songs out there.
I can't take the song seriously.
This is what I was talking about. There are worse rap songs out there than the thong song. Because seriously, fucking magnets, how do they work? It wasn't just like something someone made up. Those are lyrics in a song that people thought were so funny that it became a meme.
Basically, the song became a joke.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, it says there in the description, something ridicule.
Yeah. No, that's a different song. Okay, so the worst song ever recorded. It's been called the worst of all time, most notably fucking magnets. How do they work? I don't want to talk to the scientists. Y'all motherfuckers lying and getting me pissed. Most embarrassing rap moment of all time.
Again, if it was meant to be a parody, I think this would be a great song.
Yeah, if it were a parody, top notch. All right.
But if not, it's a parody, whether you wanted it to be or not.
This is going to be the first time I have heard the first verse of this song in my entire life. So, this is made by a producer called Patrice Wilson. This is what he does. This is what he does with all of his talents. Now, I'm going to show you. This is Patrice Wilson's fault. Because
this isn't her normal fare.
This is what she sounds like doing a cover of Camila Cabello's Havana. Clearly, it's not her vocal ability that is the problem.
I mean, it wasn't that.
Yet,
it was the vocal.
It's nasal and auto-tune that are done in this song.
It is very
that distort her. This was designed as a meme, and this was designed to get viral by being as bad as it was. I'm almost certain. I don't know if it's a conspiracy necessarily. I think it was an attempt to see if you could make a different type of formula work. And that formula was ridicule for success. And Rebecca Black was used as a tool in it. But with that said, she can sing, so I don't consider this a fault against her. I consider this a producer's fault.
But it says it's a bad song.
Yeah, the song itself, and okay, that's not even fair either, because instrumentally it's basic. The lyrics are
weak.
Pretty crappy. But if you had someone singing this normally, I could see how it could at least be kind of successful as a musical song. It's not like the melody in and of itself, the notes that are there are harmonious with one another. It's not clashing. I don't necessarily know that you can swing it as a 100% failure in music. I think that it's a misuse of talent and using it in the wrong way and making a failure out of it because of poor choices.
Hey. That is his printer's opinion on the subject.
You couldn't even hear it because it was too quiet for the microphone. But my printer just decided it was going to go for some reason.
Printers have opinions too, I guess.
Alright, so...
Never heard of this.
This one is called Swagger Jagger by Cher Lloyd. And this is going to start the one... I don't know, because I don't listen to the radio much anymore. The worst song in the history of pop.
Oh boy.
I'm probably going to beg to differ. It might not be great, but I'm probably going to beg to differ.
What the hell did I just...
First. I actually kind of really enjoy the music video. I really like the graphic effects going across. I think it's fun.
You heard that too, right?
Now, I'm going to disagree with Shin.
I'm going to disagree back.
Well, that's usually how it works, traditionally. This song is not amazing. This song is not bad. Great or good. It's average. It's fun and catchy. I agree on both of those with anyone who wants to say those.
Here, little
if catchy makes a song bad, then what's music?
I don't like the way she's talking down at me.
So?
She's a jerk!
Have you listened to... Well, you don't listen to rap, so... It's cheesy. It's absolutely cheesy. It will be dated and forgotten.
So hostile.
But I find it a pretty fun song. I could see if this playing a club, like, hey, this is at least kind of fun to dance to.
I hear a bit of My Darling Clementine in it, though.
Yeah, that was deliberate.
Oh.
Okay.
I don't even know what to say about that.
Okay, so, but with that said, it's okay. It's not awful.
What's a Jagger?
The lyrics, I was gonna say, the lyrics are weak.
I can tell what a Swagger Jagger was if I knew what a Jagger was.
So...
Is it like just a weird jaguar?
I don't know, is she just calling out Mick Jagger in song for some reason? Which would be really weird, because he's like really old. Why would she bother? But, whatever. The lyrics are definitely not the high point of this song, but to call it the worst pop worst thing to happen to pop music. Is that what you said?
The worst thing in the history of pop.
Yeah, worst song in the history of pop.
I do
no.
Pop has had some really bad stuff.
Yeah.
I'd say this is bad. Is it the worst? I mean,
it also depends on what you define as pop, because if we consider PC, what's it called? PC music to be pop in that it follows all of the things that are required to become a pop song, then no, because most PC music is really nothing.
The next one, they have a fun, interesting commentary here. BBC News said this was the worst song of 2012 and of all time.
I don't know how you do both. If it's of all time, it's probably also of the year it was from. I don't know this song either. Oh, I do know this song! This song has a bad lip reading cover of it, which is funny.
But do you know this song?
No.
Well, now you shall.
I'm guessing that it is a completely generic pop song with nothing remarkable about it and under-interesting, like, nonsense or not very appealing lyrics. This one does qualify as a bad song because you have two people who aren't trying to sing very well.
Right.
Or they are trying and failing horribly.
They can't be trying.
Their melodies don't harmonize, which means the fact that they're singing together doesn't work very well. They're definitely flat. The lyrics are super basic.
This is what I see at the end of my bed when I have sleep paralysis. That's a really weird thing.
Some people just don't get art. I think it's supposed to be iconic because they're both really average. Wow, I'm not going to play into that. This is one of the most unintentionally hilarious songs ever made. There you go. Okay, so this is probably two people who had enough appeal that they could get a rental space and rent it and make a video, and people would think, oh, maybe. And then this is what happened. They don't have singing talent. They probably have some other talents or whatever. I don't know. Whatever. This actually qualifies as, I would definitely call this a legitimate bad song. If you're going to make a song and make it successful on the radio, it has to at least have a functioning melody. And it has to
be pleasant to hear.
Yeah, you can't make it a job to listen to it. So yeah, that one actually qualifies as a bad song and might be at the fault of the band and not a producer. This next one, I've never heard Alison Gold outside of this song, so I can't say what her talents are.
Have you heard this song?
Yes.
Oh.
I don't know what her actual singing talent is, but this is a Patrice Wilson song, and first thing.
Dear God!
Why do the subtitles keep changing language?
I know I saw some German in there.
And then it became actual Chinese, and now it's, I think, Thai. I don't know. It's
That's not helpful.
Yeah, I don't know what they're trying to do with it.
But it's the official music video that does the... Oh,
yeah.
God.
No, again, this is a song that was done with the market of, it'll be ridiculous and funny, therefore it will succeed.
It's lyrically...
it's supposed to be basic, but this falls into, what kind of lyrics make a good song? Because, is there anything wrong with writing about liking Chinese food?
I know.
Could you get John Lennon, for example, to write a song about liking Chinese food and actually get something that sounded competent?
I can't imagine him doing that, but I mean, it's probably possible. It might be a bit
negative.
I mean,
first off, its lyrical complexity is lacking. It's very first grader words, like simplistic. And the problem with why I would say that technically you could write about Chinese food and it would not succeed under any circumstances because
it's food.
There has to be an emotional depth to music.
More than I like.
Yay, food's yummy is not. But with that said, it did sound like, okay, she might have a decent singing voice and was again hampered by, let's make it sound awful.
I'm not sure if I call it racist, as there's nothing there, but...
Did he say it's racist?
That's been criticized...
I'm sure that parts of the music video and things that are going on with it being Chinese food, they've probably done some really stupid stereotyping somewhere in the song. I'm sure. But, whatever the case, again...
I don't feel this song really has a reason to exist.
True.
That's
So,
what
this, like Rebecca Black's Friday, both do qualify as legitimately bad songs. But I can't put it on the artist who ends up probably taking the brunt of the hit.
No, but I'm not going to judge the artist. I will judge the song.
Yeah. I would imagine there are a lot of people who, in the wake of Friday especially, thought, oh my god, that girl can't sing. And yes, she obviously can. It's just that her producer did her a disservice the way that they handled it. And so, that's the end of their list.
That's a lot of that was pretty bad. Most of it wasn't the worst.
They do separate out albums, as you said. Which means I had to look up and see if there were a couple of albums in this.
The Macarena album by the Macarena Man.
Okay, it's not. Okay, so first off, they don't include William Hung's album, which, at the time, was so ridiculed, it was the Friday of its time. So I don't know how you can have that.
I don't really understand albums and the importance of them.
This is William Hung. This isn't joking. This is William Hung. Record deal because his voice was so bad, and people made fun of him for the next, several years of his life. I mean, if he enjoyed it and, lived with the comedy of it, whatever, that's fine. But that wasn't on that list that you just went through. That was not on your list. That was not on Wikipedia at all.
I mean, I couldn't even call it to a professional level, but I guess you
No, this was done through a record label.
Why?
Let's see if I can figure
He
it
can't
out.
sing. I hate to say it, but he can't sing.
Let's see who was the record label for him. Albums. Coke Records. Yeah, Coke Records. North American record label and distributor.
I don't know how to feel about this.
So that wasn't on the list. So there's your first big swing and a miss. I didn't even have to play much of that, and Shin's already uncomfortable. I got 13 seconds into that video.
You can't sing.
No, you can't. Let's see.
I mean, he's on my level, maybe.
Let's see. What else did I have? I'm saving one until the end because it is the worst song I know. How about drag racing song? Actual instrumentation is it's not that competent. The song that I'm thinking of.
I would say it's a song that is just 2 words though. Is all I was saying.
I'm so sad that I can't find it. I had it saved one time on a list because it was specifically so remarkable.
Your lists are long.
No, it was a list of 5 songs that I was just amazed by. They're absolutely ridiculous. Is this it? Didn't make the list.
Is it the hair?
I'm going to possibly offend you here.
I mean, that's admittedly barely music.
Is this a song?
I don't know.
It would probably still qualify as noise music. But
There's music in it.
I don't necessarily know how much you can qualify it as a song.